Now, I think it's safe to say most of my friends, most of the people I know, when you buy a new bike or a used bike, one of the things you have to strive for is to make it your own. You want to put those little custom, one of a kind touches on it. And everybody has different tastes, different things they want a custom seat, they want custom parts, custom wheels, well, whatever. No matter what it is, that's a challenging part of motorcycling is deciding right up in the beginning what parts do I want to change and why do I want to change them and how might it all work out once I get out on the open road. Is this going to work or is this going to be a fantasy? When I bought the R1 new at Motorcycle Mall in 2009, that's 16 years ago, I was a lot younger and I could deal with the fact that they had clip-ons, lower handlebars, higher pegs, among other things, and the exhaust. I wanted to make my own exhaust. That was one of the things I had on my bucket list to do for the motorcycle. And one by one by one, as I made the changes, some of them worked out way better than I ever thought they would. Some of them didn't work out well at all. And I'm going to just detail a couple of them on this video that I don't know what value it would be to somebody who's buying a new motorcycle, but a lot of people have fallen into the same trap on some things. You buy a bike that's really not appropriate. You buy a bike that's uncomfortable. You buy a bike that's way too expensive and you find out the maintenance is a killer. Or you buy a bike that just is not fun to ride for whatever reason. Well, if you're going to make the bike your own, you're a little bit ahead of the game now. Right off the bat, the first thing, absolutely the first thing, I got the bike broken in. I wanted to change the handlebars. I took the clip-ons, I bought SWAT bars that were higher, and then I went through a series of rental bars and wound up with standard bars that come on a GS 1100E Suzuki. And what I found, and it works for me, but it probably wouldn't work for everybody, is every time I made the handlebars just a little bit higher, the bike was more comfortable to ride and a lot more fun. And I didn't expect that. I was expecting it not to be that big of a deal. But in the end, it turned out to be a big deal to have the bike comfortable. Now, it served two purposes too. It allowed me to put wider mirrors on the bike. And boy, I get comments on the video all the time from people say, why don't you put these little tiny mirrors on, little tiny blinkers and this and that? Well, for me, I'm out on the road almost every day and I'm in traffic the part of the time I have to use to get up to the riding area where it's a little bit more friendly. But in the meantime, the loud exhaust, when I had the loud exhaust that I made on the bike, it was not in my favor. And the mirrors that I couldn't see out of, I went crazy. I bet you I have 5-6 sets of mirrors. I just donated a set of mirrors to Jim Skinner's bike. He didn't have the right mirrors or the ones for the GS. But I looked in the bucket and I remember every time I made the mirrors wider that I could see out of them, the bike was more comfortable and more fun to ride. I didn't really expect it to be that big of a deal, but little things sometimes become a real deal breaker. it happened to me very quickly that I realized just the little things that make a bike more comfortable, or make a bike that it's just more comfortable, safe to ride, like blinkers and mirrors that people can see and you can see. Little things like that go a long way, especially if you're going to ride every day, or if you're going to ride in, like I have some traffic I have to ride through to get up to this really nice riding area. But I was so amazed the little detail things I did made a big difference. Now, my good friend and motocross #1 plate, Billy Sargent, gave me some ideas when I first bought the R1. He says, anything you're going to do to the bike, it should make the bike physically lighter, in other words, weight reduction, or make it that it's more high performance. Well, yes, that's true if you're going to go out and race all your friends up and down Main Street and maybe get them to buy you a pizza or something. But within this riding circle that I ride in, comfort is a big deal. And I wanted to spend a lot of the time and energy on cosmetic changes. Now, some of the things like the badging of the bike, painting the wheels, an enormous job. Some of the little things, making the radar detector that I could put it on any of the bikes, making that seat pillion, these are all custom parts. The sprockets, rear sprocket, and painting a lot of the flat black parts, and there are a lot of them on this bike, painting them either gloss black or blue. That was such a big part of making it my own. Now, there's a lot of little one-off handmade parts on this bike. The headlight in the scoops where the headlights normally would be on an R1, making that part turned out to be a labor of love. That was just a giant job. And among the things I wanted to do on my bucket list, I wanted a dark windshield. That was easy probably one of the easiest things to fit. They make so many different windshields for this bike. But I had 2 or 3 choices of other things. I made a couple of seats that just had a little more padding in them, and I didn't like the ergonomics. I made one that has a high piece in the back. I thought maybe there'd be a day I'd run over to the Island Dragway with Jim and go take a day of doing time trials and scaring myself. But this bike's not really a drag bike anyway. But I enjoyed making those parts. It was such a lot of fun, and I love that I can get the blue to be a perfect match. was lucky. I already had a mold that I used on the FCR to make the tail tidy, a one-of-a-kind, one-off. I kind of like that. The heel guards I made from carbon fiber, right from scratch. Painting all the flat black parts inside the fairing were just a nice upgrade. Painting the chain guard, anytime I added something blue to the bike, I liked it better than flat black. The sprox was a great addition to the bike. And of course, the tail section of the bike, the little cowls that I made that replaced the seat, I just thought that added just that nice little custom touch. And once you make the bike your own, it's just so much more enjoyable than riding a bike that has irritating little spots and things that you don't like about it. All of the time and energy I spent to do that, so worthwhile. And now it's time to get back to the farm. So looking back 16 years and all the work I did to customize and make this bike my own, the little details, the big details, painting the wheels, getting rid of that flat black, and the ergonomics, and in the end, putting the stock exhaust system back on, and of course the radar detector, all of the pieces of the puzzle that make this bike a part of my life. And when I jump on a saddle and go for a ride out in my favorite riding area, it's just like the bike is a part of me, like they used to say about the horse and the man being one part. This bike is part of me. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have a very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click. And it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen playlist. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do. The painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button. And thanks everyone for watching.